Welcome to Heal the New Sex, where we discuss all things healing, self-love, and relationships. My name is Samantha. Today I want to talk about how marriage is for you. This video is actually in response to a comment that someone left in my other video, Your Love Story is Here. And she said that it's hard for her to know if marriage is for her. So I know whenever singles, especially Christian singles, talk about wanting to be married, many people bring up Paul and what Paul said, right? That we should be like him because he's single. It's better to marry than to burn. And so I feel like often when single women discuss or share their desire to be married, that it's almost as if it's dismissed, right? And so on this channel, right, we do talk about being single and being successful in your singleness and being satisfied in your singleness and your single season being a great season, right? So I just want to put that out there, right? We're single and we're satisfied, and we're single and we're happy. But I also want to share this verse because this is something that when I saw that comment, this verse came to mind, and I told the young lady to read this verse because I think this gives us insight. I believe that when God put us on the earth, he put more of us on the earth to be married. I don't think singleness is the norm, right? I think there are to be more married people than single people. I do believe that there's a set time and there's a set season. So I'm 36. I thought that I would be married by now, but I'm okay that I'm not, right? But I do believe that many of us get caught up in our own timeline. And when it doesn't happen, when we think it should happen, that's what causes us to doubt. That's what causes us to believe that maybe it's not for us, okay? So I am reading, what version of the Bible is this? This is the New Living Translation, and it's Matthew chapter 19, and I'm going to read verses 1 through 12, okay? So it says, after Jesus had finished saying these things, he left Galilee and went southward to the region of Judea and into the area east of the Jordan River. Vast crowds followed him there, and he healed their sick. Some Pharisees came and tried to trap him with this question: should a man be allowed to divorce his wife for any reason? Haven't you read the scriptures? Jesus replied. They record that from the beginning, God made them male and female. And he said, this explains why a man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife, and the two are united into one. Since there are no longer two but one, let no one separate them, for God has joined them together. Then why did Moses say a man could merely write an official letter of divorce and send her away? They asked. Jesus replied, Moses permitted divorce as a concession to your hard-hearted wickedness, but it is not what God had originally intended. And I tell you this, a man who divorces his wife and marries another commits adultery unless his wife has been unfaithful. Jesus' disciples then said to him that it is better not to marry. Not everyone can accept this statement. Jesus said, only those whom God helps. Some are born as eunuchs, some have been made that way by others, and some choose not to marry for the sake of the kingdom of heaven. Let anyone who can accept this statement. So I read all of that, but I really wanted to focus on 10 through 12. I wanted to give the background because I feel like 10 through 12 outside of the context doesn't make sense. Oh, and let me just give this disclaimer. I've gotten a few comments from men that say that women are not supposed to teach. And while I respect your opinion, I also want to encourage you that if you find what I'm doing offensive, to not watch my channel, okay? And I'm not saying that to be flip. I'm saying that there's a lot of religious and legalistic bullying that's occurring, and I delete it and I block it, but I just want to put that out there because this video and my channel is to encourage women in their single season. I desire to work with women, okay? So I'm not trying to be nasty or flip, but I just want the legalism and the bullying to stop, okay? So when the disciples said, then, well, Jesus, if that's the case, it's not better to marry, right? Jesus said, everybody can't accept this. That's what Jesus said. I know people be talking about Paul, but Jesus trump Paul, okay? Jesus, Paul. Okay, so when somebody say something to you about, well, you know what Paul says, well, hold up. Let's talk about what Jesus said. Jesus said, not everyone can accept this statement. Only those whom God helps. So you need God help to be single. I know y'all know. I know y'all know. Listen, if you being single the right way, hey, it's because the Lord is helping you. Okay? Remember back then we say, Jesus is my help. Some are born as eunuchs. So some are born, right, without the desire for marriage. Okay? So a eunuch back in the day served the king. You might want to do some research on that word because I'm not sure if I can say how eunuchs were created, but okay. So it's saying some are born as eunuchs, some are born without the desire of marriage. Some have been made that way by others. So the king made them that way. And some choose not to marry for the sake of the kingdom of heaven. So there are some that say, I want to serve God, so I'm not going to marry. Let anyone who can accept this statement. So listen, there's 1 of 3 categories. Either you were born without the desire to be married, either were you created a eunuch, where we don't have that anymore, or at least in America we don't. And then there are those that choose not to be married. If you're not in one of those categories, then marriage is available to you and God desires for you to be married. So stop talking about, is marriage for me? Yes. If you are not in one of these 3 categories, marriage is for you. Now, let's talk about what you should be doing in this season. Because I think the reason why many women are not married yet is because you need to be outside. Let me just say it like that. You need to be outside. Okay? If you're a single woman, especially a single woman without children, what are your hobbies? What are your interests? What are your passions? What are your purpose projects? What are those? And they need not to be within the confines of your home. You need to be outside. You need to be outside mingling and getting to know people. Even if you're building a business, the Chamber of Commerce, you need to be in places and spaces where you can be presented and where you can interact with men, right? And then also, what do your relationships look like? Your friendships look like? Your friend groups? Because a lot of people are partnered because a girlfriend says, hey, I got a cousin. I think that you two will really hit it off. And then there it is, right? Then you're introduced. I think another thing that you need to do during this time and season is that you need to surrender the timeline of when you think that you're supposed to be married. Many of us feel like, Lord, I should have been married by now. Why am I not married? Why haven't you sent my Boaz? And I already talked to you about Boaz. Boaz dead, okay? We don't want a Boaz. He's dead. And the one young lady, she said, I don't want a Boaz. I want a Joseph. Okay. But girl, I want a Xerxes. Okay. I want me a king. But anywho, we need to surrender the timeline. We need to surrender the belief that there's a certain time in which God is supposed to do this thing. We may not have been married in our 30s or our 20s, but we may get married in our 40s. And I know for some women that may be hard because you have the desire for children. Well, there may be other things that you look at. Maybe you are supposed to be a foster mom, or maybe you're the rich auntie until you get married. And so even though you may want biological children, you may be put on this earth to pour into other children, and you still have that ability to do that. I know for some women that may be hard, but guess what? If you're believing God, you may still have physical children because he operates outside of the time that we work in and that we live in. Okay. So I hope this video serves as encouragement that marriage is for you. I hope you believe God that there is a man out there that he's getting ready for you, that he's preparing for you, but he's also preparing you in this season. Okay, listen, God is not Amazon and no man. He ain't FedEx and no man. He ain't UPS and no man. He ain't sending no man, by the postal service. He's not doing that. You got to be outside and you have to trust God. So until we meet again, I just want you to feel encouraged. Remember, healed is the new sexy, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.